The next learning objective is to use the current ratio to evaluate a company. The current ratio measures a company's ability to pay its current liabilities. The ratio is calculated as follows. Current assets are divided by current liabilities. A company prefers to have a high current ratio because that means it has plenty of current assets to pay its current liabilities. A current ratio that has increased from the prior period indicates improvement in a company's ability to pay its current debts. A current ratio that has decreased from the prior period signals impairment in the company's ability to pay its current liabilities. The rule of thumb states that a strong current ratio is 1.5, which indicates that the company has $1.50 in current assets for every dollar in current liabilities. A current ratio of 1 is considered low and somewhat risky. Now let's go look at some real-life current ratios. So right now we're now looking at a website called Reuters, and I'm looking at the Amazon page on Reuters. So let's see if we can find the current ratio. I'm going to do Control F for find. And here's the current ratio. By the way, the MRQ just means most recent quarter. Because remember, publicly traded companies, which means they have a stock on like the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, they have to release their financial statements quarterly. So notice we've got a current ratio, and here's the current ratio for Amazon. And then here's the current ratio for the industry. So remember how the PowerPoint said that the rule of thumb is 1.5 or better, or higher is better, or is good, I should say. But I like to say, ignore the rule of thumb. You need to compare the company versus the industry average. In other words, versus its competitors, because all industries are a little bit different, or maybe a lot different, and their average current ratio could differ significantly by industry. So as you can see here, the industry average of 1.32 is the current ratio for Amazon's competitors, and Amazon's is only 1.04. What this means is Amazon is not quite as liquid as most of its competitors, but their current ratio is not dangerously low. Let's go look at Microsoft and see how that might differ. So here's Microsoft. Let's search for current ratio. And then here you go. Notice how different the industry average is for Microsoft for a current ratio versus Amazon. And it looks like Microsoft's current ratio is about average compared to their competitors. So always look at a company's ratio compared to its industry's average, which means its competitors. Never go by just a rule of thumb.